Hey, um, some of you have asked, like, what are the books I use the most, my favorite books for teaching? And I thought that was just a really good question. So I wanted to make a quick video about it. Um, I read a lot. I mean, it's a little overboard. In fact, once when I was on sabbatical for a semester, part of the day I was teaching high school at Baldwin High School, but for like a few hours every single day, I would just read like stacks and stacks of books that I'd gotten through interlibrary loan. And one of the things I quickly realized was just a lot of books are kind of crap. They just sort of don't say anything, get you anywhere. And then other books are just sort of rehashing things. So pretty quickly, it felt like I was just kind of reading the same thing over and over. And I started to realize that maybe it wasn't necessary to read such vast quantities of books, but instead to be aware of a few that were the best of the best. I mean, I kind of feel like at this moment in time, you could get away with a library of 12 general books that you've just really read carefully, maybe multiple times, written all over. I mean, just taken a very deep dive into those 12 books. Plus, you're probably going to need about three more that are specific to what you teach. And I won't try to mention those there because you all teach a lot of different things. So let me tell you the 12 that I think could be just the foundation of your library, and maybe you don't need other books. Just saying. So, of course, to teach, you have to understand how to make learning stick. It's one of the biggest problems in our schools. We know that students lose about 90% of what they've learned in the month after they learned it. That's crazy. So I'm really going to push this idea of understanding how learning sticks and how the brain works. And my favorite book for making learning stick is literally called Make It Stick. And I feel like this really drives home what works and what doesn't and what you need to make absolutely sure you're doing. And then this is a similar sort of concept. It's neuroscience. It's about how the brain works, but it's focused more on how to like integrate that with how you're designing lessons. So I love that this is a twofer. It's giving you two things at the same time. Fabulous. And it matches my outfit. Then another fantastic twofer, because this one is teaching you both about the brain, but culturally responsive teaching, which is just so important because you have to teach all of your students well, and all of your students have to feel welcome and included, and they all need to see themselves in your curriculum. And this is my favorite book on that topic. Also, I know loads of you teach at schools where a lot of the students are very low income. And I think this is just a fantastic book. Even if you teach in a high income district, it's just this idea of providing rich teaching experiences. And there's two versions of this. This one is the handbook. The other one is just the regular book. They're equally good. I would say just get the one that is the better price. But I feel like it really helps you see how to make an exceptional teaching experience for every student, regardless of how wealthy they are, what their socioeconomic status is. Love this, very practical. All of you have to turn in grades and assess students, and there is definitely no better book than Grading for Equity on this topic. And I just want, oh, look, it matches my outfit too. Just another spectacular book because grading is fraught. It is a problematic practice that often does more harm than good, and this will help you see the way around that. Now, of course, for many teachers, something that really, really matters is classroom management. Because if you don't have quality classroom management, you're going to be in trouble. And oh, the amount of time I searched for a book that was practical and actually worked, oh, it took me forever, because virtually everything I was reading was just putting Band-Aids on things, and just trying to punish the student in the moment, but not actually fix them, bribe students to be good. It was just all terrible and didn't go with what we know about how the brain works. And then I found Lost and Found. Just spectacular. Love it, love it, love it. There's an earlier version, I can't remember if it's called Lost in School or Lost at School, also by Ross Greene. I like it equally well and maybe even a little better. They're extremely similar, but be easy to get used. Most of these books, I think you could easily get used. And just to kind of go along with that is this idea of, it's called Better Than Carrots or Sticks. It's the same, it's philosophically similar, but this one is more about like working with individual students who maybe have behavior issues. And this one's a little bit more about like how to work with the class and the community, but maintaining that same philosophy. It's a philosophy I think a lot of you would really feel good about. Now, for like actually like teaching, the books I have that are, like how do you teach? This is my favorite book of just like pure strategies. It's got young children on the cover, but the strategies in here are good for middle and high school. And it's just, you can get overwhelmed with too many strategies. And I feel like this one is good because it's just a nice solid book. Maybe you don't need more than this. And I like that it's total participation. Then I think we don't pay enough attention to how movement affects learning, how emotions affect learning, and so forth. And so these are just the two great books on those subjects. They are both geared toward college students, but the how they discuss things really can work for any grade level. And I think this is kind of the secret to taking lessons from good, fine, to remarkable. Then this has been the book that influenced me most, I think, within the past year, 2 years. It says it's for mathematics. I don't see it that way at all. In fact, I'm working really hard to help people see how what he promotes in this method could work in any classroom. It gets students up and moving. But most importantly, it solves another huge problem we have, and that is that students are not particularly engaged or deeply thinking in most of our classrooms. And he develops in detail, very, very practical, a means that you can take it in any kind of direction depending on what you're teaching. But he gives kind of like a foundational approach to getting students to think deeply all class period. I love it so much. And yeah, this is my thing. The final book, sadly, I left it at home, so I can't hold it up for you. But it is called The Anxious Generation. And I think it's going to do a better job than any other book of helping you understand what's happening with this generation right now. Because we've got issues of rampant depression and anxiety, students who seem to be struggling to build bonds with one another, build friendships. There's students are often very distracted. And this book is by one of my favorite authors, Jonathan Haidt, although his last name is spelled Haidt, but it's pronounced Haidt. I think one of the strongest researchers of the past several decades. I mean, he is just really a spectacular thinker and researcher. And I think you'll really enjoy that book, and it will help you not only think about what needs to happen to improve the situation for our students right now, but also practical ways to actually do that. So what's happening and how do we solve it? Just a really beautiful book. So 12 books to change your career. And I hope you will get them all and just start reading them. I mean, like when you think about it, it seems daunting, read 12 books. But on the other hand, I think you would feel extremely, I don't know, like when I read, it pumps me up. Even if it's just a short period of time, it really sets me up for my day. So what if you just read 10 to 15 minutes every morning? Or like took 10 minutes to read, 5 minutes to capture ideas and write a little bit. I think it would make a really big difference. You could also, and depending on how you work and think, maybe it's one of the last things you do in the evening, or it's what you do at lunch. But if you just read, put 15 minutes a day into it, probably by the end of the school year, you could have, really made a big dent in discovering these books. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you later.